Unfortunately, EA has struck again. But regardless, welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites out there, to, sadly, a rather depressing Marvel games related video. Because despite the fact that we do have a brand new update pertaining to one of the many highly anticipated upcoming AAA Marvel games, this is sadly the absolute worst update that any of these games could possibly receive. But to cut to the chase, I am referring to the previously announced standalone AAA Black Panther game that was being published by Electronic Arts and was being developed by a brand new AAA gaming studio known as Cliffhanger Games, where this AAA Marvel's Black Panther game has indeed been officially cancelled. Which, coming from me personally, as someone who's not only a diehard fan of any and all Marvel games, but also as someone who loves the Black Panther character, this is absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm thoroughly going to be breaking down all this news to see exactly how we got here for the Black Panther game, as well as what exactly this might mean for the other upcoming AAA games which are currently being published by EA. So if you want to make sure to stay fully up to date with all the latest and greatest in Marvel games news, then definitely be sure to whip that like button and subscribe to the channel for even more Marvel games videos like this down the line. So to reiterate is that this breaking news was initially reported by IGN, whereas they went on to state is that Electronic Arts is canceling its planned Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Studios. Now this article in its entirety actually goes on to break down a lot of other developments that EA is going to be making following this Black Panther game's cancellation and how exactly it's going to be impacting the other divisions of EA Studios. So if you want to read the whole article for yourself, I will make sure to leave a link to it in the description below. But for the sake of this video, I'm mainly going to highlight the main points revolving around this Black Panther game, where in an email sent to staff from EA Entertainment President Laura Mealy said that these changes, alongside other recent cancellations and layoffs, are being done to, quote-unquote, sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. These decisions are hard. They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding opportunities within EA, where we've had success helping people land in new roles. But from my perspective, this sounds like nothing but corporate mumbo jumbo. The sad fact of the matter is that the gaming industry at large, especially within recent years, has only become increasingly more unstable, especially when it comes to all these passionate development teams and all the individual developers that work there. Hundreds, if not thousands of these developers are now out of a job. And all the years of non-stop work, blood, sweat, and tears that they poured into these experiences will never be able to see the light of day. This is exactly what happened recently to the other AAA standalone superhero game with that of Wonder Woman, which was being developed by Monolith Studios, which was also shockingly and unjustly canceled by all the publishers over at Warner Brothers Games. And the short and simple reason as to why I believe this is happening more often within the gaming industry is a clear-cut example of poor and inconsiderate leadership. Because as the article continues is that Mealy's email highlighted that EA is focusing on a small handful of franchises going forward, primarily with the likes of Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Mealy also reassures that EA will continue to invest in its Iron Man game at Motive, and the third Star Wars Jedi game, as well as it maintain its mobile business despite today's cuts, while BioWare works on the next Mass Effect. Additionally, last year, CEO Andrew Wilson announced that the company would be, quote-unquote, moving away from development of future licensed IP that we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Now, I don't know what type of world Andrew Wilson is living in, but I don't see any reality where a AAA standalone open-world single-player action-adventure Black Panther game that was also being developed on Unreal Engine 5 would not be in any way, shape, or form any type of successful within the gaming industry. If anything, that might have ended up becoming one of the most highly anticipated superhero games of all time. But instead, knowing that EA is going to now be prioritizing more of their multiplayer and live service games just makes me utterly sick to my stomach. To emphasize just how crazy this is that Cliffhanger Games was a brand new, built from the ground up AAA gaming studio that was cultivated by EA, as well as formed by previous members of Monolith Games. In fact, this Black Panther game was actually being led by one of the main heads from the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor team of Kevin Stevens. So seeing that EA poured all this time and resources into making a completely original gaming developer that they would own as a first-party studio, only to then follow that up by completely shutting them down without even having them release their very first game is an absolute disgrace, and makes me extremely sad as to what this could mean for the gaming industry in the future. But on the bright side, for now at least, it sounds like that Marvel's Iron Man game, which is currently in development by Motive Studios, is still well and good. But given all this terrible Black Panther news, I really hope that this means that we could end up seeing more of this Iron Man game sooner rather than later. Because more importantly is that Marvel and EA's agreement for Black Panther was part of a 3-game deal that included Iron Man and a third unannounced title. IGN understands that this partnership will continue, with Motive Studios leading future Marvel titles. EA provided the following statement regarding the deal with Marvel to IGN, attributed to Mealy. Our partnership with Marvel remains strong, and our multi-title long-term collaboration continues. Now, granted, we didn't know too much official information as to what exactly Cliffhanger was planning when it came to this Black Panther game. But based on some inside information, which I did actually make a previous video about, is that it sounded like the premise of this Black Panther game was to make it a storyline in which T'Challa has already passed away, and that you as the player would actually take up the role as a brand new Black Panther, which would also make it sort of like an RPG mixed with an open world setting. And as I've gone on record in the past, I wasn't completely fond of that aspect, considering that I would have liked the game to simply focus directly on T'Challa, just like how the Iron Man game is going to be focusing on Tony Stark. But that still doesn't make it right that the entire game and all the hard work that was poured into it will never be seen by anyone else. In the end, everybody, while this is a major loss for Marvel Games fans and an even bigger loss for die-hard Black Panther fans, we can only hope that the other upcoming AAA Marvel games that are planned to release in the future will hopefully fill the void that Black Panther has left. We also know that Marvel 1943 is going to feature another Black Panther within that game of T'Challa's grandfather, Azuri, which is now currently scheduled to release sometime early next year in 2026. So despite the fact we may not get a standalone Black Panther game, it is nice knowing that we will see Black Panther return in another AAA format sometime soon. And I can only keep my fingers crossed that that game, and any and all other upcoming games made by all these hardworking developers, will be treated fairly, honestly, and most importantly, with respect. And with all that said, everybody, that's the video I have for all you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. On a scale of 1 to 10, how upset are you in knowing that Marvel's Black Panther game has been officially canceled? Let me know what you think, be sure to leave a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for more Marvel Games videos like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, stay merry Marvelites, and until next time, peace out.